What is up, restaurant friends? If you're looking for help with your finances, your bookkeeping, you're in the right place today. I am here with Andrew Shirk and Luke Aggeler from Insight Maven Services. They are gurus at helping with bookkeeping and finances of restaurants. So I'll throw it out to both of you. What are the struggles that you're seeing restaurants facing today?
Yeah, I'd say one of the most common financial mistakes I see restaurants making is not placing an importance on inventory tracking. If you're not placing that importance on inventory tracking, I think overall that can lead to higher food costs, whether it be through over ordering and increase in waste, so you're not able to get visibility of that, or in some cases theft. So I think just ultimately incorporating a process where you can review that inventory periodically and just see where you're at, I think makes all the difference.
Yeah. So what would you say are like some best practices with that? How should people be tracking their inventory? What should they be doing and looking at?
Yeah, I think ultimately it starts with good systems. I mean, I've seen a lot of restaurant, owner operators incorporate spreadsheets, which I mean, if you're good at Excel, that's fine. But a lot of people aren't. So I think just getting a system in place that works for you, that allows you to see, what your inventory was last period, also what was the cost per unit versus what it is today, and just being able to compare that and see where you're at. That way, you can make any corrections that you need to, and prevent any high food costs becoming an ongoing issue.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this in May 2025 is when we're recording this, but I mean, there's a lot of things with prices, tariffs, things like that. What are you seeing right now? What do you see happening, with that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a struggle with restaurants is rising food costs. Of course, with that being not only tariffs, but of course increase in transportation costs. So ultimately, just making sure that your contract pricing is set, and overall, just making sure that you have the processes in place to control your portioning and make sure you're not overusing that product.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a struggle right now. Luke, what does Insight Maven Services? How do you support restaurants? Tell us about the company and what you do.
Yeah, so like 95% of our clients are restaurants. So we work in the industry. We consider ourselves masters of the industry. Having said that, we know that it's ever changing. So we're always trying to stay on the cutting edge of things. I think where we kind of set ourselves apart from a typical bookkeeper or CPA firm is just that we're immersed in the industry. Other bookkeepers may not be have the time or desire or kind of feel that investment to learn the restaurant industry. So we're just kind of able to take all this experience that we have, industry knowledge, and we're able to provide timely and accurate financials. We're able to add our own insights from our experience, and all in hopes to remove pain points and ultimately increase profits.
Yeah. What are some of those pain points that you really like when owners come to you and they're like, I need help? What are those things that you guys do to help take off their plate?
Yeah. So, a lot of times, the biggest thing I see is people come to me, with incomplete financials from the past. And they say, hey, Luke, I've got incomplete financials, either they were doing them themselves, or maybe, they were getting, potentially poor work from a prior accountant, or, whatever the case may be. And so the first step is, turning that around and showing them, as I've been saying, accurate numbers. So then they can begin to make, decisions to improve, wherever they are. But I think, the biggest thing that I hear is mostly, I got to get my financials in order. I was trying to do it. I wasn't wanting to hire an accountant before, or, we had an accountant. They were good CPAs. They just didn't get the restaurant industry. So that's, I think, is the biggest one I hear, just kind of incomplete financials, messy financials, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so niche specific. There's so many things about the restaurant industry that are unique, and that, working with someone like you is really important.
Yeah, there's just so many ins and outs. I mean, restaurants are all different, but they're kind of all the same as well. So, we learn, I learn things every day. I've been in the restaurant industry myself for, as soon as I got out of high school. So, I say that just to say, I'm still learning things every day, working with other clients that I can then take that in and go to another client where, I just feel like, like you said, it is such a kind of a niche industry, where kind of a general accountant, bookkeeper, CPA, may just be missing some of the ins and outs.
Yeah. Great stuff. Luke, what are things that owners should be looking for? Like, are there numbers, specific things they should be kind of keeping their eye on? What do you recommend?
Yeah. So, one thing I think, that restaurant owners probably don't have the most understanding of, that they really should, is third-party platforms. Talking about DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub. As you said, it's May 2025. It kind of seems like those partners, DoorDash, Uber, there's a million others, other than just those big ones. It kind of seems like, you have to do business with them, because if somebody wants to DoorDash, they're going to get on, and you want to see your name on there. But I see operators and other bookkeepers, they don't fully understand what goes into the accounting on those platforms. The sales, the fees, the taxes, the tips, etc. And restaurants, they have such a, the percentage of their business that's being done with DoorDash and these third-party partners, it's growing so much percentage-wise year after year that, it's a little bit concerning that people still don't have, they don't fully understand the operations and the financials behind working with these people. So I think that's kind of, the biggest thing that restaurant owners could probably, sharpen up on and look into. Because, I was talking, I don't know if I just said, if I was talking to somebody about it, the nuts and bolts about restaurants really isn't changing. It's just, keeping up with the things that are.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. Third party is really, it's a necessary evil, right? I mean, what are things that you guys, advise restaurants you work with? Are there best practices when it comes to working with like third party? Should you increase your prices? Like what do you say?
I think, nowadays it seems pretty standard that, people are increasing, their prices. Excuse me 1 second. Alexa, stop. Had my Alexa going off. Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. And then I lost my train of thought. Sorry, Court.
Yeah, no, raising prices on third-party delivery to cover costs.
Yeah, so as far as best practices go, I think that's pretty standard. But yeah, and taking advantage of the, you're able to run like promotional campaigns through them, and really just monitoring how your sales and how your performance reacted to that, and then you're able to make kind of tweaks and adjustments to those campaigns if they do prove to be beneficial.
Yeah. So I mean, where do you see the future? Where is this going? What should restaurants maybe start doing to prepare for the future?
As far as so I may take this. I think just what's so important for restaurant owners is, in my opinion, I'm an accountant by trade, is to have accurate and timely financials. So one, they're accurate, and two, you're getting them in a timely manner to where you can read them and make adjustments, see waste, as Andrew was talking about, potentially see theft in a cash account, but getting them in front of you so you're able to make adjustments, make decisions in a timely manner. And I'm just not sure that, enough people see the value of knowing your numbers, knowing what your food cost is, and being confident in that, knowing what your labor is and being confident in that. So you can then set goals to slowly improve. And so, yeah, I just think, there's always, if your financials are a mess, they're not gonna get better just sitting there. So obviously, you got to, it's just the old, there's no better time than now,
Yeah.
So getting just really getting your financials in order just so you can make those decisions.
Yeah. Love it. I'm always curious about AI. Where do you see AI restaurants starting to integrate AI with their finances to make decisions about ordering, about inventory? Is that something you guys have all been talking about?
Andrew, I don't know if you have. I don't have a lot of clients that are really kind of incorporating that on like a large scale just yet. We use a few different platforms ourselves to help us, with inventory, with accounts payable and whatnot, for some of our clients. But as far as just AI, I don't know, Andrew, if you have anything.
Yeah, no, as far as the AI standpoint goes, I mean, I think the furthest it goes as of today, is more so just, inventory, right? AP invoices kind of coming in, from, vendors. But as far as like AI going into the financial planning and analysis, nothing there yet.
Yeah.
Just more so assisting with the streamlining of the lower level processes, mainly with data entry.
Yeah. I've got to think, there's so many tools that it can unlock, so many things it can unlock, with inventory and stuff. I know we may not be there yet, but just curious what's on the radar with that. So, okay, if a restaurant wants to work with you guys and they're like, okay, I'm ready to get my finances in order, what's the first step? How can they get in touch, and what would that look like when they do reach out to you?
Yeah, so really you can go to our website, insightmavenservices.com. You can email me, it's Luke at insightmavenservices.com. You can email Andrew at insightmavenservices.com. You can email any one of us personally, reach out and talk to us. You can go to our website. And then, we'll reach out and we'll get a plan together. I'm sure we'll be able to improve your financial situation. But yeah, so if you're kind of talking about like what the first 30 days with Insight Maven looks like, really that first part is, maybe the first week or so, we're really looking to get information from you. So we're looking to get, login credentials to your point of sale, your payroll system. We're going to want to get to your business banking and business credit cards. But with those, we just need a read-only access. So because we just want to be able to see statements so we can reconcile the bank. We want to be able to see check images, deposits, and all that. So we just need to read-only access to those. We don't want to be able to move money around or anything like that. And then we want to get access to the third parties, the DoorDashes, the Uber Eats, your vendors. We just want to get all the information up front at once so we can log into the different places, pull the reports that we need. And then, also in the 30 days, we're meeting on a weekly basis just to make sure that, we're getting everything that we need to continue the onboarding process and make sure that, you as the operator are, happy with how everything's going and just are updated on the progress. And then, lastly, once we get the onboard process done, and we're rocking and rolling, we transition to monthly financial meetings. So we review the previous month or period if you do fiscal periods. And then, obviously we're not going to meet weekly anymore, but we're still keeping in touch throughout the period. If we have questions, we reach out, and we always, are happy for you to reach out to us, if you have any question or anything like that.
Yeah. Excellent. Luke, Andrew, I appreciate it. Great information. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody else, go check them out. Go reach out to them, and they'll help you get your money in order. So
thanks, Court.
Hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.